All right, good morning, friends. I'm here in Bailey, Colorado. I'm at an elevation of 7,942 feet. Right now in Bailey, it is 63 degrees. Humidity here is only 50%. And, well, let's check the air pressure. I'm going to get on my phone here and pull up my barometer. We'll check the air pressure and see what the pressure is up here at Bailey, because it's going to be a lot different because of how high I am in altitude. And the air pressure here right now is 762.461, and that's a lot lower than it is there in Naples, so we'll talk about that later. So those are our current weather conditions right now. I'm enjoying a hot cup of coffee that I made earlier inside, and this morning we're going to talk about heat and how I can use heat. A little bit of chemistry, a little bit of physics, and how knowing a little bit of science is going to help me stay warm, dry, and comfortable on my hike as I get up into the mountains and up into the snow. I have what's called a pocket rocket. I've got a canister of fuel here with a stand on top. The canister contains some fuel. That fuel contains stored chemical energy, potential chemical energy, and I'm going to change that potential chemical energy into two forms of energy, heat and light. And I'm going to start by using my lighter. Now my lighter has a little flint on it that when I twist it produces a spark. That friction produces heat, and that heat reacts with the oxygen in the atmosphere to produce a spark, and that spark just gives me a momentary burst of heat and light. It's a chemical reaction. It's changing oxygen in the atmosphere, it's combining with the heat, and that oxygen is going to combine to form heat and light. When I press down on the button, that adds fuel to the mixture. So I press down, heat and light combine to form a flame at the tip of my lighter, producing heat and light as long as I keep my thumb on there, letting the fuel go up. I let my thumb off, the fuel stops. I'm going to do the same thing on my fuel canister, but before I do that, I'm going to add some water, because the first thing I want to do this morning is make breakfast. So I've got some oatmeal, blueberry oatmeal, and I'm going to use a little bit of heat and chemistry to make my oatmeal. I'm going to heat up my water first, put a little bit of water in my pot, set that over there, and I'm going to turn my fuel on, and I'm going to light my fuel. There we go. Hear that? That's the sound of the fuel burning. By the way, I'm going to turn that off for a second. If you hear whistling in the background, those are hummingbirds. There are dozens of hummingbirds just whistling through the air. Beautiful, beautiful sound this morning. So I'm going to start that up and heat my water for my oatmeal. I've lit the fuel. That potential chemical energy is now being changed in a chemical reaction to heat, light, and sound. You can hear the sound. You can't see the flame. I'm not going to put my finger near there because I know that that flame's burning hot. Put the pot on top, and it's going to take just a minute to heat that pot of water up. Now, heat travels in three ways: radiation, conduction, and convection. Right now, as I'm sitting here in the sun, I can feel the heat of the sun on the side of my face. It feels really warm. That is radiation. Light from the sun and heat from the sun is traveling through space through radiation. I'm using that radiation right now to dry my socks over on the chair. But that's going to take too long to dry. So in just a minute, I'm going to use radiation, conduction, and convection to help me dry my socks. Remember that. Heat moves in three ways: radiation through space, conduction, which is when heat travels directly from the metal of the pot to the water that's inside. Those two things are touching. The metal of the pot is taking the heat from the flame, and it is conducting that heat to the water that's inside the pot. If those two things are touching, that is conduction. The water inside is going to get warm, and that heat's going to travel up through the water in a process called convection. It's a flow, it's a cycle, it's a current. If you're in my classroom, you can see the lava lamp, and you can see the lava convecting through the lava lamp. That's a flow. That's really important because that's what drives a lot of the weather on Earth, is convection. It drives our wind cycle, it drives thunderstorms, it drives hurricanes, it drives hailstorms, it drives wind currents. Convection is the driver of all of those things. And the convection in Earth's atmosphere is driven by the heat of the sun. You can see the steam coming off the top, so I know my water's boiling. I'm going to turn that off, set my pot down, and I'm going to go ahead and open up my oatmeal. Set that to the side. Got some nice blueberry oatmeal. Pour that hot water in there. Let that sit for 15-20 minutes, and that'll be good to eat. That's my breakfast for today, and I've got my spoon with me.